Good morning. Welcome to Hanging with the Chads. What's up, everybody? I'm Chad Springer. As always, I'm with my greatest tag team partner and co-host, Chad Boudreau, and this is Hanging with the Chads. If you notice, we got a little bit of gear. We got some gear now. We got our team stores going, so we're rocking and rolling. That shirt looked really good on you, Boudreau.
Yeah, yours
Uh,
is too.
yeah, this is the third try. So, they look pretty good. And, we're laughing today, but ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a little different on today's episode. It's going to be a little bit heavier, but it's one that Hanging with the Chads is going to have. We're going to be talking about grief, especially the kind that comes when you deal with the loss of someone you care about. Uh, this week, we both had a loss that we truly care about. Coach Jeremy Palmer lost his, I wouldn't say lost his battle with cancer, but, he fought to the very end. We had the honor of attending his funeral on Friday. It was real Palmer like. That's what I'm going to call it.
Yeah,
The,
absolutely.
Absolutely. I mean, had his towel, had his shoes, and his sunglasses. So, Jeremy Palmer, we're going to miss you. You're our brother. I only got to know him exactly for 2 years. And because of you, Boudreaux, I never would have met Palmer. So I appreciate you for that. Uh, you know, he fought to the very end. So our thoughts and prayers are obviously going to continue with his family. And, last night I got the news that my grandmother had passed away. So it's been a pretty tough week in the Springer household, to say the least. But what we're going to get into today is Marines and coaches, and just men and women in general trying to lead the right way. We both have walked through loss, and we've learned sometimes the hard way that grief it doesn't have a rule book. And ladies and gentlemen, we're not therapists. We're not here to fix anything. We're just here to be real about what loss feels like, what's helped us, what hasn't, and how you're going to try and keep moving forward and honoring those who we've lost. And, we've all been through it, and, we've all probably going through it now, So before we get into the nuts and bolts, we got a little bit of sports news here. The NBA Finals tied at 2. I think it's going 7 now. I'm changing my mind from last week, but as long as it goes over 6 and the Pacers win, I'm fine. I'll win my bet. But it's back and forth in the NBA Finals. The NHL Stanley Cup. Hey, Florida, they got a chance tonight. I believe it's tonight to make sure Canada stays away from the Stanley Cup for another year. So shout out the Florida Panthers. Boudreaux, your favorite race is coming up today, the Canadian GP in Montreal. Russell won the pole. The race is kicking off at 2. And then I'm probably going to sit around a little bit with the U.S. Open at the Oakmont. Sam Burns leads at -4, and
Yeah,
he's about to take off at 2:15.
yeah. So, right behind me, you see there LSU fans. So, first of all, go Tigers winning last night against Arkansas in the College World
Go
Series.
Tigers.
And then going to the Open, Sam Burns, go Tigers.
Go
So
Tigers.
yeah, I think it's the two, like we always talk about, the two finals right now. They're so unpredictable because you'll have one team like Florida, they'll go up, win a game 6-1, and the next thing you know they lose. And then the same thing with the Pacers. But I'm seeing that it's hard for the Pacers to hold down SGA. Man, he's lighting it up right now. So we're gonna find out what's gonna happen. So yeah, those two are going to be interesting to see. And then the Canadian GP, it seems like the two McLaren boys are struggling a little bit. I mean, you got Russell on pole and Max starting in second, so
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be a good one to watch. And then the Open, it's just, I mean, it's exactly what the U.S. Open's supposed to be. It's the hardest tournament to win. There's just struggling all over the course. I mean, what is it, like 4 or above par right now? So are under par right now, so it's interesting. But yeah, man, like I know we're going quickly through the sports thing because what we're talking
Yep.
about today is going to be serious, and yeah, I'm ready to hit it.
And before we get there, I would be remiss if I did not say Happy Father's Day, Mr. Boudreaux. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, especially
Absolutely.
my father. Kenneth Holzhauser, who is currently obviously up in Tennessee with my family. I'm going to do my best to make it up there. But to all the fathers out there, happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day to my dad, Mal Jr. And I hope he has a great day. I'll see him in about a week. So,
Father's Day, we deserve more than one day. But I'm not a father. I got a dog, so that's fine by me.
dog dad's work. Dad's count. Dog dad's count.
Hey, well, him about to be a service dog. He's going to be attacked right off.
There you go.
I'm kidding with you. I love this dog to death. He's almost at 70 pounds now. It's a long way of starting at the 13 pounds that we got him at, and now he's almost at 70. But perfect dog. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Mike's 3D Printing and Oasis Health and Rehydration. So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to get into our show. Thank you all for hanging with the Chads, and again, happy Father's Day, everybody. And good morning. We're back. Thank you for hanging with the Chads on this Father's Day edition. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get into it today. We're going to talk about grief. We're going to talk about death. We're going to talk about loss and how we deal with it. As we both have said, we both have lost someone we cared about this week. It doubled up on me. So basically, grief, man. It's universal. No one's immune. There is two things that are guaranteed in this life, and that's death and taxes. And, Boudreaux, you've seen me dealing with grief for the past 3 years. You was there with me when my best friend, my brother, died. I was actually walking on your field when it happened. His mother passed away at the beginning of this school year. Palmer, fought to the end, and now my grandmother. Grief is it's there. I mean, it's got to happen, and how you handle that grief is the way you have to represent yourself. So when my brother passed away, that was completely unexpected. I will tell you that right now, because we was planning for his wedding 2 months later. And this is a best friend of mine, Paul McNeil. He's been my best friend since I was in school, and that was completely unexpected. I mean, and it hurt. It was rough. Probably I tell everybody one of the greatest things I ever got to do was on my birthday. I got to speak at his funeral, which was tough because that was the first time I actually opened up to anybody. And, I keep my stuff inside, and I just try to keep moving and keep handling. And I don't want to jump into our other topics that we're going to talk about when we're dealing with this. But what is some of the things that you have dealt with? Obviously Palmer, but what are some of, if you want to share, how you prepare for it? Because Palmer's was, unfortunately, you got to prepare for something like him and something like my grandma. Like what do you do to prepare for that?
No, you just honestly, when my grandma died last year, it was I prepared for it. I just stayed in contact with my parents, with my mom back at home. She gave me updates on everything going on, and I was actually at work in my office when I got the phone call that she passed away. And yeah, you deal with it differently depending upon who you are. My model's always been it's unhealthy the way I deal with it, but it works for me, and I just push it back, and I go back to work. So literally, it took me all of 3 seconds. My secretary walks in, she gives me a hug, closes the door, and I open the door immediately. Like I said, maybe a minute at most. And she looks at me, she's like, "What?" I'm like, "I gotta work. I can't sit here and just sulk in it." But yeah, just to prepare for it, you just gotta. Yeah, to me personally, I just think about the good times that I've had with her, and just reminisce on everything that we've done together. And with everybody, even with like Palmer, like I thought about the good times, like him winning his first game as the head coach with us, um, him getting the job before I became AD, just different things like that. And just I actually thought back because he was the first teacher I worked with when I got into education. So I was just thinking about the times that I had with him during that, like even when the kids would do stupid stuff and how me and him had to step in. So yeah, it was just
Kids are
that's how I prepare for it. I just tell myself I know it's going to happen. Unlike what happened with your brother, where it was unexpected, this was so expected that it was kind of more of, okay, like, how is everybody dealing? Is everybody set up? Is everyone okay? What can I do to help? Like, I was kind of the person during this whole thing that would call everyone, so the family didn't have to call people, like especially the people that he coached with or
Yeah.
people at the school. So they didn't have to deal with all that. So
Mhm.
yeah, it was just more of how can I help kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's always like that, especially when it involves a wife and kids and things of that nature. I just try to stay available myself with that whole situation. I text. I don't try to bombard them because I want them to, you know, have some space. Because that's how I deal with things. But it's like, hey, I'm here if you need anything. His daughter, I call Little Palmer, and her and I, we Sarah would text, and hey, I'm here if you need anything. Uh, the biggest thing is preparing is I thought about the good times we had, like for instance me, Palmer, Janko, his daughter, and her fiance. We went to the Royal Rumble when it was in Tampa. And I think about that time together. I think about how hot it was when we was on the turf field during the summer for my brief stay at Celebration. And but then I just think about all the times we just picked up the phone and talked. I mean, like, you know, uh, before he got the job at university, I was trying my damnedest to bring him over to Liberty, and I almost had him. I almost had him, but university gave him the job, and he wants to be a head coach. Great, I want you to be a head coach. And I just think about all those times we're passing each other on the highway, and we're just having those conversations, whether it's about coaching, whether it's about wrestling, whether it's about what I would do in this type of situation as a coach or XYZ, and same to him, and he was there obviously when my brother passed away. He was on the field with me too, and so I preparing is just putting yourself mentally in that place where you can't stop the hourglass from running out, but you can honor and think about the good times you had, and now once you're in it, once the loss actually hits, grief doesn't come in a straight line. It can wreck you out of nowhere. It can, come at you in silence. But let's talk about how it really feels. What grief feels like and why it's hard. For me, grief is, as Marines, we're taught to, we're stone cold killers. Let's keep it in. Let's not deal with it. As we get out, in our world, I mean, death comes at you fast. I mean, I never ever 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 want to sit and have a loss of an athlete. I don't want to have a loss of anybody really, but I don't want to ever have a loss of an athlete because I don't know how I can handle it. And when the grief comes at you, I sit back, and the grieving isn't like good grief. I should have done more. The grieving for me is, man, I wish I would have had more time, or man, I wish I could have picked up the phone one more time just to call him or text him. That's the thing that hits me the most, because when my brother passed away, he passed away. It was that Thursday that we was playing you guys. Monday we was on the phone just talking, like, hey, blah 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 X Y Z. If I would have known that was the last conversation we had, I would have called his ass Wednesday. I would have called him again on Tuesday. I would have sent him a text. And for me, that's the hard part, is when you sit back and you're like, man, could I have done more? And obviously the people you care about know life gets hectic. Like, let me be real. When my brother passed away and I was on the field, my admin was telling me to leave. What was my response? For what?
Right.
He knew or knows how much I care about football and my job. He'd be the first to tell you, keep your ass there. Stay where you're at. Keep doing what you're doing. I mean, because I told I told my AP that was there that night, I was like, why would I leave? I go home and he's still not here.
Right.
I drive to his family's house in Bartow. He's still not here, you know? And so how do you, deal with the grief when it's so unpredictable? It's that anger, it's that numbness, it's that guilt, the regret, and how do you stay strong?
No, it's difficult. Like I said, when my grandma died, it was hard for me because I had so many memories that my grandma and I would always do so many things from when she used to volunteer at the school. When we did the eye test at school, she'd be one of the ones that volunteered for it and slipped me M&Ms.
Ah.
To when I was in the Marine Corps and I was stationed in 29 Palms and she was living in Arizona. Her and my grandpa would come pick me up out of 29 Palms and take me to their house. And I'd go hang out with them like Thanksgiving weekend. I'd go hang out with them for the whole weekend and we'd go bar hopping. So yeah, my grandma was like that. She one time we ordered this big old thing of cherry bombs, and me and her just ate the whole jar of cherry bombs. Yeah. So anyway, like it's hard because like I didn't have that phone call anymore, right? Like you call her like, hey grandma, how's things going? And you'd have a good conversation with her, and it just wasn't there anymore. And that's where it hurt. It wasn't so much that she was gone because again, she was in Louisiana, I was here in Florida, so it wasn't like I saw her every day or every weekend, but it was that phone call that I missed where I couldn't call her or I'd call my mom and she'd be there and I'd talk to her while she was talking with my mom. So those are the parts that hurt. And just trying to deal with it, I think what I did, again, like I said, it might not be for everyone. Some people may say it's not healthy. Is I just buried myself in work because at the end of the day, the way I looked at it, I was like, what am I going to do? If I'm going to go home, it's not going to bring her back. If I'm going to sit here and sulk about things, it still won't bring her back. So I'll just bury myself in work and do the best I can through it. And then having a great support system there for me, like having my wife here and walking me through it, calling home, talking to my mom, talking to my sister, um, talking to my grandpa, seeing how he's doing. Like just those little things like that kind of just kept me going through it. And so, and then when I got home and we finally did celebration of life for her, it was more of like the way she would want it. It wasn't, oh, everybody crying the whole time. Oh, I miss her, I miss her. It was a giant party. Like we literally had karaoke and stuff going on.
Yeah.
So it was like that was the way. Right. That was like it was over. Like like okay, like we're good. Everybody's good. We can move on.
Yeah, and we jumped ahead just a little bit, getting on to our next topic that we'll talk about after the first break we're going to take. But I mean, I think for me the hardest moment was the was the funeral. Uh, Paul's funeral was on my birthday. That was the hardest moment for me because that's the first time, other than a Facebook post, that I spoke about it. And it was 2 weeks after his death. And his mom obviously asked me if I could speak. There was other people that spoke. I thought I was opening the funeral, but instead I was closing the funeral after his fiance had her words spoken. So I'm standing up in there and I'm looking at him in the casket, and we had a saying. And go ahead if get the FCC censor button for this. Uh, every time we talk, I always called him an ugly motherfucker, and he'd look at me. He's like, "No, I'm a sexy beast," And but that was our thing, and my mom had asked me if I was going to write anything down. And I told her if I need something to write something about Paul after I've known this guy since I was 14. Literally, we shared a damn bed together. Like he had a California king. He slept on one side, I could up on the other. I should not be able to speak about him if I had to write something. And it was an honor. I spoke to his mom, I spoke to his wife, I spoke to his stepson, uh, and I just said basically how I felt. You know, that when we first moved to Florida, I was angry because I left North Carolina. I didn't have any friends. I didn't know anybody. And then I met Paul, and then that became my best friend, for life. That's my brother, you know, and his mom is my mom, and, I hugged her, told her I love her. Obviously, you know how that goes. I mean, when you grow up with somebody like that, the mom becomes your mom. Like when you're Paul's relative whenever his mom cusses you out, plain and simple. And I had hugged uh, his his wife, and she's like, "I don't know what to do." I was like, "You're not supposed to know what to do." I was like, "But look around this room. these people right here are supposed to help you get to where you're supposed to be. And I remember getting home that night. I was talking to Nicole, and she had told me it's okay to be sad. And I was like, why do I need to be sad? She's like, it's okay to, be upset. I was like, but why? I was like, he wouldn't want me to be. And, going over to, again, we're going to get what help next is, everybody else is sad. Someone needs to be able to be strong. Someone needs to be able to stand there and be like, okay, it sucks, but, someone has to be strong for everyone else. Like, we actually played Auburndale High School the following week, and I took because he was a CO, a correctional officer. I took a flag case to his mom so she could put the flag in that the honor guard gave him, and so that was pretty cool. Obviously, his mom's no longer with us, and I miss her too. But with all these emotions, and the natural question is, how do you deal with it? What actually helped us get through it and what didn't? And we're going to talk about that after the break. We appreciate you hanging out with the Chads this morning. I'm Chad Springer, as always, with Chad Boudreau. Hey, happy Father's Day again, man. We'll be right back after this break. Good morning. Welcome back to Hanging with the Chads. I'm Chad Springer, joined as always with Chad Boudreau. And this episode is titled When the Whistle Stops, Dealing with Death and Grief. We've already spoke about our journeys of dealing with grief, and we've spoke about why it hits us so hard, especially the unexpected things, and how do we prepare for the expected things. And before the break, I said, the natural question is, how do you deal with it? And what actually helped us get through it. And so, Boudreau, what's helped you get through the grief that you've experienced and the death that you've experienced in life?
Just what helped me is just being just present in the moment. Honestly, just like having my wife and my daughter, watching them and being there for them, putting things in perspective, understanding like it's not all. And it's hard for us to say it as athletic directors because we live at the school that we work at, but it's making sure that I take time out because we don't know when that hourglass runs out, right?
Yeah.
So it's being able to watch my daughter, being there for her. I mean, it even affected her, like her room right now. She's got like 4 or 5 pictures hanging up of my grandma, her great grandma, because they did a lot of things together when she was around. But being there for that, having a good support system, those two, my family, my friends, just always checking in on me, how I'm doing, checking in on them, how they're doing, just being around people. And just like I said, burying myself in work sometimes is the one thing that always helps me is just being there, working, doing what I got to do, seeing the joy in the kids' faces, knowing like, hey, all right, like everything's going to be okay because these kids are getting to enjoy their time, their 4 years with us, and making sure they get that. So yeah, it's a combination of things that helps me get through it. Things that don't work at all for me is when people are like, "Oh yeah, like stay strong," or "Everything's gonna be okay." Like I hate that phrase. Like, look, I know everything's gonna be like we all know everything's going to be okay. You don't have to tell me that. Just be like, "Hey man, sorry for your loss," and then if you want to hang, we can hang. Otherwise, just go. Like I don't need to like keep rehashing everything over and over and over.
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head with that one. I'm going to start with what didn't help. The stay strong comments didn't help at all. I mean, come on now, stay strong. I mean, how can you stay strong when your homie's gone? Basically, that's the song lyric for a reason. And the what's that song? I Miss My Homies by Master P and Silk the Shocker and all that. So at the end of the day, what helped me is the same thing as you work, man. I mean, yes, I have a great support system with my family, my friends. You checked on me during that whole time. TK checked on me. Mike, Passamatic of Mike's 3D Printing checked on me. He's one of my closest friends from the Marine Corps. You know, I went a little step further. I tell my kids all the time that they're the reason I keep moving is my students, because my clientele, they need someone that's persistent, and they need to see someone. If I'm expecting them to battle through adversity, the expectation is I do the same. I'm built a little different. I compartmentalize things a little differently than others. That's how I've always been. I deal with I deal with grief and loss on my own. I get it out there so the world knows, but then I'm like, okay, how do I handle it? Like me, I have no problems getting in the truck, turning on some music and driving.
Isn't that great though? Like
Yes.
me, how owning my Jeep, like literally just taking, like honestly, the greatest thing in the world for me. Take the doors, take the top off, pump up the music as loud as I can, and and just drive.
Yep.
Just forget about everything. And don't. And I'm not talking about driving like interstate. I'm talking back roads.
Mm-hmm.
Taking the back roads and just driving and forgetting about everything. That's the
Like
greatest thing in the world.
I'll go to the places that, like, so for instance, when I left Celebration that night, when my brother died, I took 417 to Foggy Creek because that's the area we grew up. We came up through in Taft. I just drove around the streets of Taft, man. Just looking, I was like, oh shit, that's where we did this. Or yeah, we spent a lot of time there. I took like an hour and a half to get home on a 20-minute drive. And the driving is my way of dealing with things. For me, look, I like video games. Sometimes I just want to sit and play video game for a minute because, me and Paul would do that too. But the thing again back is my kids, man. They need someone there. Like I tell them all the time, I was like, look, guys, my brother died. I was still there at that football game Friday night. The following week, I didn't take days off. I do this for you guys. I do this because you need to see someone that supports you. And again, a kid asked me one day, "They're like, why? Why did you not take time off, or why didn't you do this?" It's real simple, man. Because I expect you to go through adversity and fight through it. So you expect the same thing from me. And obviously, your faith comes into play. I didn't shed a tear until the actual funeral, and it was tough. It was tough though. I ain't gonna lie. It was one of the toughest things I've done in my life. And the things that helped again was my family and the kids, you checking in, Mike checking in, the drives. Driving is the greatest thing. I don't care what anybody says. You nail on the head, man. Windows down, doors off for you. My windows are down because I can't take my doors off. It'd be illegal. But at the end of the day, just I got playlists. It's called thinking music. It's that stuff that just makes you just like, yeah, vibe with it.
Mhm.
And so we got the things that help. We got the things that didn't. Sometimes there's that thing that helps us most isn't even for us. It's being there for someone. It's being there, for someone that's going through it as well. Not necessarily our experiences, but someone else. And let's shift into that for a minute. You know, we both have been there for each other, in situations, you know. So what is being there for someone that's grieving? To me, it's just that ever so often text, "Hey, how you doing?" Like I would text Palmer, like, "Hey, how you doing, bro? You good? Cool." Like we don't have to have a hour long conversation. Um, so at the end of the day, it's being consistent with them. What are some of the things you do to be there as being there for someone?
So, like from a coaching perspective, I had to deal with this a couple years ago. I had an athlete who lost his mom
Mhm.
to cancer, and like it's literally like what you're saying, right? It's you don't want to be that like what we call like a hover parent, right? You don't want to sit or a helicopter parent where you're sitting there hovering over them, like always around them. No, it's more of just checking in. Like, hey man, you see him in school one day, like, hey man, you all right? And then like you don't follow them to every class. You don't sit there and wait for them, make sure they're good. It's more of just being there, checking in on them, sending them a text message. Hey man, you good? Want to talk? No, good. Have a nice day. Thinking about you. Just sending little things like that. Hey, is there anything you need? Like it, depending upon who you're dealing with. Like I said, from a coach perspective, it's more of just sitting there, making sure like the kid has a safe landing, somewhere that they can go, knowing that either A, if they want to talk about stuff, you're going to be there to talk to them and be there for them to talk, or just a place where they can go like what we do, where it's more of just, I need a break from everything, but I can't leave school right now because we're in school and it's in session. So I'm just going to go sit in his office.
Yep.
And he's not going to mess with me. He's not going to ask me anything. He may ask me, hey, you want something to drink because you got a fridge full of water or something? Or, hey, man, you need like a snack because you got snacks in there. But you're not going to sit there and be like, oh, buddy, how are you? Are you okay? Like, no, it's just like if he wants to talk, he knows he can talk. Or if he just wants to sit there and just space out and just not have a care in the world, then he has that opportunity too. And I think that is what some people don't understand. It's like not everybody needs to have a hover. You don't need to be there and be like, oh, be on top of them. No, it's more of letting them know, hey man, like I got you. You need me, I'll be there. If not, we're cool. Just let me know. Here's a place you can sit and chill for a little while. I'm not gonna tell you you're gonna be safe. Everybody in the school knows what's going on. They're not gonna come in here and be like, why is he sitting in your office? No, he's sitting there because he needs to grieve for a minute. He'll go back to class when he's ready.
Yep.
It's not like we're counselors or anything like that, but he doesn't even want to see a counselor because he trusts me. So he's going to sit there with me. He trusts me. He knows who I am. He knows I'm going to be there for him when he needs it. And that's it. That to me is what is more important for somebody who's there. Like when you're there for someone,
Yep.
it's just not. And then like if you're dealing with like a family, like the Palmer situation, it's more of, hey, making sure like you guys ate today. Did you drink some water? Did you do like, especially in that, like what happened on the other day, it's more of, are you able to like get a bottle of water and drink it right now? Like you need to have something. Don't forget to do that. And that's where it's just with the different types of things that happen.
I agree with everything you're saying. I might be on the same track with you when I say this, but maybe a different wording that I would use. I love from afar.
Yeah.
Like I'm not all up in your grill. It's the, hey, I'm here. I'm not going to force you to do anything. You pick up the phone, you call me. You pick up the phone, you text me, tweet me, Instagram, whatever. I got you. And I always made a point that whenever I would, even in the Palmer thing, when I was talking to his family, I was like, hey, if there's anything I can do to help, I would do everything in my power to make sure I can help. You know, I wasn't always able to help. But, you know, again, just telling them, hey, I got you, you know, with whatever. And you spoke about your kid and it made me think about this year. I had a student athlete, and I didn't know about this until the second semester. The student athlete mother passed away right around Thanksgiving. You never would have known it. 3-sport athlete, varsity, showed up to every single practice, every single game. She literally smile on her face every single day. And when I finally found out, I talked to her and I looked at her. I said, you didn't tell me. And she's like, well, you know, kid, you know, talk. And I was like, gosh, I wish I could have done something. She's like, I knew it was happening. A 17-year-old kid just like taught me more about this topic we're talking about than anything else in my life. She's like, I made a promise to my mom I wouldn't grieve. It's a 17-year-old going on an 18-year-old kid, you know, and that is completely on par with what we're getting into. Like that right there, just it gave me a whole perspective that was different for this conversation. Like for them to, and I had the honor. I nominated this athlete for the Orlando Sentinel, the Bill Buckhalter Award for a student athlete that has faced adversity and thrived through it. I couldn't think of a better student athlete than that.
Right.
Whether she gets it or not, I still wrote her up.
But yeah, like we're saying, I mean, everybody grieves differently. That's why you don't sit there. Like you said, you love from far. Like I call it helicopter parenting. When helicopter parents do that, but love from far. Yeah, I mean, you don't know, like your kid, you didn't know. And then at first you're like, man, I wish I'd have known because I'd have done something. But then the kid's like, what would you have done? Like there was nothing for you to do. Like I'm good. We're good. So I mean, everybody grieves differently. Like you might have one that's gonna sit there and break down. I had another kid who he broke down in my office every damn day because of it, and you had to be there, put your arm around him, and like, hey man, like what can we do? What can we get through this? How can we get through this? What can I do for you to help you through this? And then finally you work through it and they see the other side of it. And then, like I said, I had the one kid, he was just like, I just come in and I just want to be quiet. I just want to go ahead, be quiet, do what you got to do. And then when you're ready to go back to class, go back to class. No big deal.
Absolutely. And at some point you got to look around and realize life does keep on going, even if your hearts are still heavy, man. So how do we carry that person with us without being stuck in the pain? And we're going to get into that after this real short break. We appreciate you hanging with the Chads this morning. I'm Chad Springer with the greatest tag team partner, tag team champion ever, Chad Boudreaux. We'll be right back. Good morning. Welcome back to Hanging with the Chads. I'm Chad Springer with Chad Boudreaux, as always, and this is Hanging with the Chads. Today, we're talking about when the whistle stops, dealing with death and grief. And before this break, we stated at some point your life is going to have to keep on moving, even though you're still grieving, your heart's still heavy, you're still upset. How do we carry that person with us without being stuck in the pain? So, living forward and honoring the ones we lost, how do you handle that, Boudreaux?
So, I mean, as you guys all know, we're tatted up guys, right? We have tattoos and stuff, right? So I get a tattoo. Like that's my thing. I haven't got one yet for my grandma, because I'm trying to decide really what I want for it. But when my dad's mom, my mama, when she passed away, her big thing when we were growing up was she spent a lot of time trying to find our actual real family crest. And she finally found it, and we had a family reunion, the one and only one we had. And it was a big thing, like she put it on everything. So when she passed away, I was stationed in North Carolina. I went to one of the tattoo shops over there and got the family crest tattooed on my leg, on my left calf. Now on my right calf, I'm gonna do something for my other grandma. So that's kind of what I do. When I lose someone close to me, is I usually do some kind of tattoo thing. It's just my way of dealing with it, my way of getting on with it, my way of knowing that they're always there, and I can look at it and be like, "Yep, they're there with me. Let's roll." But yeah, that's how I move on and know that it's time. Like I think that's the reason why I haven't got this one yet, is because I just don't know exactly what I want that would be perfect for my grandma.
Yeah, I like hearing that. Moving on is the hardest thing, and it's not really moving on. It's taking a step forward for me. I think about the times we had. So me and Paul, we love food. Obviously, I'm a little bit heavier than what I once was, and he actually went on my 600-pound life. He is on the show. He weighed 757 pounds. When he died, I think he was pushing like 350. Lost all that weight. Great, awesome. So I went. I was being funny. We used to go every Friday after school in high school. We'd go to CC's Pizza, and this one CC's Pizza was good. It was really $3.99, and us and a bunch of our friends would go there. And I remember a couple of months back, I went to CC's Pizza, took a picture of it, and I tagged him on his Facebook profile. I was like, went to CC's Pizza for the first time in years. It is not the same. Don't waste your time up there eating it or something like that. But when I hear certain songs, I think about Paul. Like the Hollies have a song, "He Ain't Heavy." He's my brother, and that was always his song that we liked. And the way I honor him is just remembering him, man. Is saying his name, making sure people know. I keep that post that I wrote about him when he passed away pinned to my Facebook profile. I want people to know that was my best friend. That was my brother. I love this man. Palmer, amazing individual. I'm just keeping his memory out there and, letting people know what type of, not even a coach, but the father, the man. And the way that funeral ended was, I can't say any funeral is amazing, but when we say it's Palmer-like, it was Palmer-like. So at the end of the funeral, inside the service, inside the chapel, Palmer had recorded a Bible verse and a prayer, and he prayed for all of his friends. He prayed for his family, and that's how the funeral ended. And, in this situation, I can't think of a better way to have ended it. My man got his sunglasses. He got his Gatorade towel. He has his Jordans. He has his celebration pullover on. It was real Palmer-like, and it was very – I don't like saying this. It was very beautiful because I don't want to think that, oh, God, that's goodbye. But in this topic, it was very beautiful for Palmer-like stuff. But it's, I don't let the grief shape me into being bitter. I let it shape me into being better. And I think about, again, the amazing times we had, the conversations we had. And I went up to his casket before we were walking into the thing. And I was like, every time I watch wrestling, I'm going to think of you. Every time I go somewhere, I'm going to think of you. Because that was our thing, wrestling. And, so that's how I'm going to live with it. And that's how I'm going to honor the individuals. My grandmother, I'm just going to honor her by making sure the family name is not stained, just like it was for my grandfather. Me and him was truly, I was his only grandkid to go in the military. So that was our bond that he and I had, which is why I have dog tags tattooed on me. But I'm just going to make sure the Springer name doesn't go down the drain for something stupid, Don't end up in prison. Don't end up in jail. Don't be all over the news for dumb shit. That's why I have positive stuff focused everywhere. And that's how I'm going to honor everyone that's lost. And anything else to add on that one?
No, I mean, you said it right. Like, there's so many times where, like, especially, like, not the Palmer thing. Like you said, we knew it was coming, right?
Yeah.
But like with your brother, right? It was more of it's happened so quick. There's so many times where something like that can happen, and you get straight up bitter because of it. Because it's just like, why? Why now? Why did this happen? And you ask all those questions, and yeah, it's hard not to ask those questions when it's a situation like that. But that's when for me, that's when I lean on people. That's when I'm sitting there and I'm leaning on my friends. I'd lean on you. I'd lean on my wife, even my daughter at times, because she even comes up to me so much like, "Daddy, it's okay, it's okay." So
Ain't that the worst when the kid comes up to you and just pulls at your heartstrings like that?
Yeah, but it snaps you out of it too. Like, it's the worst thing in the world. Like, I know you little 9-year-old shit, go away. But no, it's like, it really does pull you out of it. And it puts things in perspective. Like, okay, like, yeah, this happened, but I still have all of this in front of me that there's a reason why I am still here at this moment. There's something that I need to accomplish before my hourglass runs out. And it's because that little girl right there. It's because the 900 athletes that we have at the school that I need to freaking be there for, make sure they have somewhere to play and things they want to accomplish. So yeah, like, there's always that question why, and you're never gonna get the answer why. And to me, at times, and I fell for it a few times, but then I realized, like, I'm wasting my time if I ask that question because I'm never gonna get that answer. Exactly. So let's just go and put our head down, like we said, bury ourselves in work, because that's what we're doing. We have to go back to work at some point. We have to be there for your kids. So why not move forward? And like you said, don't let it shape you into being bitter. Shape you into being better. Like take the good things, like the Palmer situation. Take the good things that he did in his life, learn from it, and try to replicate it.
Absolutely.
And that every time someone passes away, there's always something you can learn from that person. Because at the time, we take advantage of having that person around us. But now that they're gone, you need to pick up where they left off. So yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. Don't be bitter, be better.
Yep, absolutely. And if you're listening, thank you. That means this conversation hit home, and we're glad that we could walk you through it. Grief doesn't end. You don't move on, but you do move forward, man, with the love, the lessons, and the legacy of the ones that we lost. Reach out to someone today. Say their name, tell the story, let yourself feel it. And before we end, I want to raise my cheer wine to 1, Jeremy Palmer, and 2, Dolores Springer. So we see you again. And Boudreaux, how are we going to end the show today?
Man, like we always do, everybody get better. Hey guys, reach out. Reach out to anybody. You can reach out to us. You got all of our information up there. If you need to talk to somebody, reach out to us. We're here for you guys too.
Yeah, absolutely. And as always, be better, not perfect, just 1% better every day. We appreciate you hanging with the Chads. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm Chad Springer. This is Chad Boudreaux. Until we see you again, thank you. Have a wonderful day.